As an aviation enthusiast, I'm always looking for affordable ways to connect the dots between flights. During my Pacific Northwest excursion, I thought integrating Amtrak's Cascade line from Everett, Washington to Vancouver, British Columbia would be an awesome way to add affordability to this trip. Join me as we get on the rails, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, everybody, so welcome to this report on Amtrak's Cascade line from Everett to Vancouver. I really hope each and every one of you are excited for this, as today we're going to be hitting up the rails as it was a little expensive to fly between Seattle and Vancouver on this day. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. So first and foremost, I am an aviation enthusiast, so if you're finding my channel here from looking for Amtrak reports, we will be doing more of those in the future, but keep in mind that my knowledge isn't quite as immense as others, so I apologize about that, but nevertheless, hopefully this casual perspective will bring some enjoyment to this video. So anyway, again, the main reason that we're doing this here is because it's an affordable way to get between the Seattle area and Vancouver. After finishing up my activities in Seattle during the Pacific Northwest excursion, I thought it made quite a bit of sense to leave out of Everett because obviously I was up at Payne Field doing activities there. So I thought it made perfect sense to leave out of Everett so I wouldn't have to go all the way back down to Seattle because traffic can be a little challenging at times. But furthermore, the main reason was because most of the flights were over $200 by the time that I would have been able to book those. So I thought that all of it made sense to get this about $30 or so ticket between Everett and Vancouver. So this is going to be awesome. Going to be about a 3-hour ride or so. So this should be great. So I'll go ahead and show you some views and kind of talk about my thoughts on this ride, to say the least. So really excited for this. I believe this is only my third time riding Amtrak. I did the Heartland Flyer and just a brief segment there on the the Dallas segment. I think it's Texas Eagle, could be wrong, but nevertheless, here we go for Cascades, which is a really cool line. So this is also interesting using Amtrak internationally, so that will certainly add some variety to this. Amtrak doesn't have much international. I think they have a little bit over there near the Toronto area, but I think this is their main area, or one of their main areas over here is this Vancouver run. So this is going to be really cool. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So first and foremost, the train station at Everett was really cool, very nice, beautiful design, really great infrastructure, beautiful architecture. It was so beautiful. So definitely wanted to highlight that considering how nice that was. So they did have a handful of trains. They had the Empire Builder going over towards Chicago, of course, and then the inbound one coming through as well. And then, of course, we're going to have ours, which is going to be going up to Vancouver. So Cascades runs, I think, like anywhere between 10 and 12 times a day, which is really impressive. The train originates in Eugene from the south side and then goes all the way up through Portland, all the way through the areas in Seattle before making its way all the way up to Vancouver and then flips around and goes the other way, which is really cool. So again, several frequencies there to say the least, which is absolutely awesome. So here comes our particular engine coming in. I don't know what kind of train engine it is, but what I do know is it does look pretty cool, so that's pretty sweet. And let's go ahead and get on board and get started for today's ride, which should be a really good one. So as always, let's go ahead and just get our bearings here. The seats are really nice here in the Amtrak economy product. There's not really much competition or much to compare it to relative to the US market, but what I can say is that the seats are really good. You get very generous recline. The power outlets are super nice, and the footwell's also really good. So these Amtrak seats are really great, and if you want to save money and find a way to get across the country, this is definitely the way to do it, especially if you're willing to sleep in these seats because they're not terrible and the recline's pretty generous. So if you get really knocked out, I think that somebody could definitely fall asleep there pretty easily. And you do get pretty lucky, especially in the winter months and the less busy travel months. Usually you might get a empty aisle seat next to you for the majority of the ride, so that really helps out for sleeping as well. So anyway, though, my point is that the seats are really great and definitely a huge shout out there and plenty of room to get around there. Trade tables fantastic as well, great for computer work, so on and so forth. And then of course that window view is just so spectacular, perfect speed to capture it all, and there's so much going on here. So you're gonna see I think they were chopping up some sort of trees in one of those clips there, so that was really cool. We also ended up seeing our sister train, which is really cool as well, so that was very nice. And then just some really good views. Was able to get the front lit side here, meaning that the ocean was nice and lit here in the morning run, so that was really nice. So you can see all the beautiful water out there. It's a really great time of year to come to the Pacific Northwest, and lucked out with some really great weather today, so feeling very fortunate still to this day for that. So that was absolutely awesome. So really cool to see that. Another unique wrinkle of this particular ride on Cascades was obviously, since we were going into Canada, my very first time in Canada, this is super exciting. The passport form came for, or not the passport form, rather the what's the form name? I'm forgetting what the name is for it, but nevertheless, the form came by, so we had to fill that out to go into Canada. So that was really cool. That was relatively simple. I think that was only my second time doing one of those, as Canada was my third country. So all that worked out really well, and was really happy about that, and was glad to get that filled out. So that was certainly really cool as well. It's also worth noting that we only have a handful of stations here on the run between Everett and Vancouver. So we obviously have the Everett station, which is an extremely nice one, and then our next station to cover includes, sorry, I'm trying to use the interactive map on Amtrak's website, and of course it's not one to work the one time that I really needed to work. The next station we have is Stanwood, Washington. That's going to be north of Everett, so that's really cool. And then we have Mount Vernon, which is another really good station there, which is another popular one. Probably the most popular one though between all these cities is the Bellingham, Washington station. That's a pretty large city there, so they have a cool airport too. So that is the last United States stop on the Cascade run, and then the last stop is of course Vancouver, British Columbia. So a really good line there with a handful of stops. It's also worth noting between Seattle and Everett, there is one stop in Edmonds, Washington. So that's another cool one and definitely worth noting. But there's a really good handful of stops here. I think there's somewhere around 15 or so on this particular run. So that's awesome to see and definitely worth noting there, to say the least. So that's really cool. It's also worth noting how beautiful the scenery is on this ride. Again, you get quite a bit of water view, but if you get on the other side in the afternoon, you could probably definitely get really good views on clear days at Mount Rainier, Mount Baker, so on and so forth. So that's really cool. I'm sure you can get Mount Hood down the line towards Portland as well, but you can see the views that we were getting on this day. So that was certainly nice to see, and there was obviously plenty going on. So really enjoyed that, and there was a bunch going on right there, to say the least. So really cool to see that. And then the full run there, I think it's about 9.5 hours or so. So really great to see that. But obviously Portland, very popular stop. You also have the stop there in Eugene, Oregon. That's another popular one, so on and so forth. And really it's a great way to get between all these cities on an affordable budget, which is exactly what we were trying to do here. We do have the Airkin the Dash 8. That's a little hint coming up in a future video, so that would have been appealing if we weren't on another segment for that, but you'll see how that gets integrated later. And the Alaska E175 does get featured in the future, so stay on the lookout for that too. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So yeah, so much going on here, and overall it's just really great, and I absolutely love to see it here. A bunch going on, and this is just really awesome. So really great views again, and it's absolutely awesome to see all of what's going on here. So plenty of fun facts, and again, this is a really good run with some amazing views, so hopefully all of you are enjoying those. And the vibe was just getting real as we approach Vancouver. What a beautiful city it is with the architecture and scenery, so it was really cool to get to see all of that as we are approaching in, and just the views are really great here, so definitely really taking them in and soaking them in. But nevertheless, this was a really good ride. It was fairly quiet with regards to like announcements and whatnot, and obviously with this being a coach ticket, no meal services or any of that, but the cafe car was rocking as always, so that was great. And the lavatory is also really good too, so that was certainly absolutely awesome. We even saw a Harbor Air aircraft. There's a little hint for the future as well, coming in there as well into the South Vancouver Harbor area, so that was really cool. But yeah, overall it was a great ride, and I really enjoyed it. Amtrak does a great job, and there's no exception, denying their affordability, and this was a really great way to integrate it here from Everett, Washington to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. So super excited for all the upcoming content to come, and I really hope all of you are as well. Hopefully you enjoyed all of what we're seeing here. Again, really great times here on the Cascades, and it was a really great ride, and glad to add this one to my Amtrak network, as we'll continue to add many more. So I really hope all of you are enjoying this additional content that obviously we mainly do aviation here, but always glad to feature some additional pieces here to really connect the dots and continue to answer the story as to how all of these itineraries come together. So we have a bunch of super exciting content coming in Vancouver, and I really hope all of you enjoyed this. But yeah, to summarize the Amtrak Cascades experience, it was a really great run. Definitely really enjoyed it. It's a really great train. I highly recommend it if you're looking for great scenery, especially on down the road. I'm sure that all the scenery you can get on both sides is really good, all the way to Eugene and all the way beyond, because obviously there's plenty of connections onto other places on this ride like Portland, Seattle, so on and so forth. So yeah, this was absolutely awesome, and I really enjoyed it. So really hope all of you enjoyed this. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Really looking forward to connecting the dots more in the future as well. It's going to be awesome, and again, I really hope all of you enjoyed this. But nevertheless, that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and one of you for watching. My name is Redriveraviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Just process. Do you love you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.